Hi guys, this is Awesome John 22 coming at you with my first review in a while. Is it a review of this guy? No. Is it a review of this guy? No. It's actually a review of this guy. I'm actually really surprised I set that down and it did not fall over. Yeah, this is kind of a casual review, you guys. I'm not going to definitively recommend this figure or not. It was kind of an impulse buy. Saw him at Walmart the other day for right around $6, I think, something like that. And this is the Man of Steel Superman in his kind of standard movie costume. See, that now he's doing it. Now he's doing the fall over thing. You can already see this figure has some issues. The primary of which being that it's very top heavy. Before we get into the problems though, let's look at what's good about the figure. And that is, by far, the detail and the paint. The paint is spot on. The detail is spot on. His face, look at his face. He looks like Superman. And at the same time, he invokes the actor who is going to be playing Superman in the new franchise. That's just beautiful. His costume is beautiful. He's got some great metallic paint there behind the S. It's got so much texture on the costume. As you can see, this is kind of taking a New 52-esque approach at the costume, where it is a Kryptonian suit that he modifies to be his Superman suit. You can see a fabric cape there, which moves pretty seamlessly into the red on the costume, the red paint on the costume. So, you know, that's a plus. No briefs here, which is also kind of nice, as that's a silly detail. But yeah, guys, I am a pretty big Superman fan. I'm also a pretty big Batman fan. I know that's kind of blasphemous to be a fan of them both equally, but I like them. I like Superman a lot. He's kind of that infallible guy who can pop up and fix the situation, no matter how bad it gets. I guess when I'm reading comics, which I don't do nearly as much as I should, or watching one of the DC Animated Universe movies, it's really reassuring to know that no matter how bad things get, Superman is there to kind of fix things if our characters get into really bad kind of situations. Not only that, but I really like the idea, there's my dog again, I really like the idea of this guy who is so infallibly good, surrounded by all of these characters who are becoming more and more like anti-heroes. The new 52 Superman is a little bit more human, I guess you would say, than some of the more recent adaptations, and yet he still manages to really retain what Superman is primarily, and that is a beacon for just pure goodness. I mentioned this was an impulse buy. I actually got this guy not just because I'm a fan of Superman and because I'm looking forward to the new movie, but because I really thought it would be cool to have him like getting ready to duke it out with my Avengers display. Thought that would be a fun little display to set up. There's a fundamental issue with that. We'll bring in Hawkeye to kind of show you what I mean. Yeah, this Superman, which for all intents and purposes looks to be a 3 3/4 inch scale figure, just to the casual observer, is more like 3 inches. He's very, very small. He's much smaller than Superman should be. Which really bums me out, because he is such a good-looking toy. I really wanted him to fit with some of my other 3 3/4 inch characters that are kind of out of place, because I don't collect them too much. Because, see, when I collect a character just one-off at a 3 3/4 inch scale, that's because that's the only scale he comes at. These guys, there are bigger versions of this guy. If I had known looking at him on the shelf that he was going to be this much smaller than I expected, I would have gotten a bigger version of Superman to display on his own. I'm not collecting these guys. I don't need to make room on my shelf, therefore I can have a bigger figure. But still, I'm not hugely disappointed, because as I said, it was an impulse buy. It was cheap. I didn't expect that much out of it in the first place. And if the size were the only problem with this guy, I probably would have done a serious review of him, but it's really not. I did mention he's top heavy. As you can see, he falls over pretty easily. That is because his legs are just... If you look at his feet, I don't know if you can see this. If you look at his feet, they're angled up a little bit when you're holding him straight up. And you could fix that by moving his legs back further, but they don't move back any further. That's it. That's as far back as they go, and this is as far forward as they go. He has no knees, he has no ankles, he has hardly any hip articulation. The articulation in his legs is just bad. The articulation in his arms is better, which is a step up. Superman is supposed to hit stuff. That's what he does. Hit stuff and die to green rocks. He's got a full 360. My dogs really want to go outside. Completely off the point. Shush. Sorry. Full 360 at the shoulder. In and out at the shoulder. No swivel in the arm or the wrist. But he does have a nice elbow. And he can do his kind of truth, justice, and the American way, blah, blah, blah kind of pose, which is kind of cool. And you can get some really good, like, I'm going to mess you up fighting poses out of him, which is nice. And he can, because he has good arm articulation, well, decent arm articulation, utilize his gimmick, which, I'm not going to lie, is actually probably my favorite thing about this figure other than the detail. Because Superman comes with this. He comes with a motorcycle, which if you look inside, it looks like someone with super strength might have reached inside the motorcycle, scrunched a bunch of metal together into handholds, and then ripped it in half to use as weapons. I'm not going to try to get his hands around him from behind camera because it's a little difficult, but he can hold it, and then he can beat people up with halves of motorcycles, and that is pretty cool. Of course, putting them in his hands makes him even more top-heavy than he already is, so usually I just display the motorcycle sitting next to him. As of right now, this guy doesn't really have a place in my collection. He just kind of sits there alongside some other one-off figures like Captain Jack Sparrow and Ezio from Assassin's Creed, Jake and Finn from Adventure Time. And he feels even more out of place with them than you would expect, because he is smaller than 3 3/4 inch scale. And it's annoying. So I'm actually trying to figure out something else to do with this guy. I might just put him on a corner of another shelf with a bunch of other weirdly scaled figures that I have. Maybe with my Rescue Bots, or on the shelf with my Masterpiece Skywarp and my collectible dragon statuette, because none of them really have an indication of scale. Something like that. I don't know. I'm not regretting buying him. I mean, he was cheap and his detail is cool, and I do like Superman. But really, I can't really recommend him one way or the other, because I don't really consider this a serious collector's item. The other figures in the line are just basically repaints or remolds of this guy. There's not a whole lot of collectability in it, and he can't really fit in with any other line of toys because he doesn't really scale with any of them, and that's really disappointing to me. I guess, though, if someone twisted my arm and told me, hey, you gotta recommend this guy, I'd say, you know, if you like Superman and you think you're gonna like the new movie, you might as well. I mean, he's only around $6. That's pretty good for a toy nowadays. Though, his size probably has something to do with it. Yeah. So anyway, I've got some more reviews coming up, as I mentioned in my Star Trek Into Darkness First Thoughts video. I am planning on reviewing Beast Hunters Optimus right here. I have a surprise review coming as well that will probably alienate enunciation. And alienate a bunch of you guys, but I don't care. And then I have one that I'm really excited for. It was another impulse buy. I'm actually going to be taking a look at, if I can get them all to stand up here, these guys. The West Coast Avengers 3-pack, which was yet another impulse buy. I picked this up earlier today, and whereas my Superman review was not very serious, my review of these guys is going to be very serious, because these guys are pretty freaking awesome. I'm going to try to get this one filmed tonight too. Probably won't be up until tomorrow though, because I am at least running my videos through a video editor now to make sure there isn't anything like hugely obvious that I can fix. But yeah, it's coming soon. So I will talk to you guys later.